Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch me, please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We can't go out, man, forget about peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put them in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Not so tough, but mans keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch me, please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
I honestly can't believe I'm about to say what I'm about to say. I really can't. It just dawned on me because I was coming in. And I am going to get out ahead of this, and I'm going to come out today and be against Martin Luther King Day on Monday because I want to work on Monday. I just learned that we've got a company holiday.
Yeah, all right.
Holiday.
I have a question. How are you just learning this? Every year, I get an email or a Slack message asking, what are we doing for Martin Luther King Day? And the answer is always the same fucking thing we've done for 15 years is respect Martin Luther King Day. And plus, I want to watch the inauguration.
So that's going to be a giant content day, and I was looking forward to it. I've not done this in the history of our company. Carl will tell you this, not once. I don't have anything to do with the schedule. On Thursday, I said to him, please make sure Jess is in here on Monday.
I'm going to the national championship game. What are you talking about?
Please make sure that I can have her on the Notre Dame game. Please make sure that I can have the content of whatever that game is because she's going to care about that game.
Your first ever big game preview? Like, well, what is happening?
What?
What is happening? We're always off that day. And the discussion is, well, there's playoff games to discuss. I'm like, yeah, they'll be there to discuss on Tuesday. It's Martin Luther King Day.
You always get mad when we do like any serious sports preview content.
Could have ended that sentence a little earlier.
Yeah.
You always get mad.
She'll be there Tuesday. She'll be there Tuesday. That's the day you want her. We get to drink tears or celebrate with her. She gets to espouse the virtues of toughness. This is incredible. Tuesday.
We could talk about Notre Dame's left tackle issues now. I think Charles Jagusa is going to start at left tackle. Knapp is out.
The Jagoose is
Which
loose.
means Rocco Spindler's probably good to go at right guard.
Rocco Spindler.
A very Italian team.
Hardly know her.
Steve Angeli's my fave. Unsung hero.
Because life is moving very fast on me away from here, forgive me for this. I thought I was asking for Jess on Monday after a national championship game for some reason that I had in my head on Sunday as a giant football weekend that was pro and college. So not only did I not know it was Martin Luther King Day and then promptly come out against Martin Luther King Day, I also was putting a white woman to work on Martin Luther King Day and punishing her for not being able to go to the championship game on the wrong day because I didn't want to do a preview. I wanted to make sure we had you after the game, not before it.
Let me just get out in front of this one. President's Day, holiday. We're not doing a show that day, okay? Why? Because we've established for 15 years we haven't been doing that.
Okay,
on that
but
day.
I don't feel you guys honestly correct me if I've got this wrong because time and space have moved for me in a way that's been just disorienting and confusing. I can't quite keep up with the sports schedule. You all do know it's all sped up, right? There's more greed everywhere, and like we're being bombarded with the ability to consume more at all time. And then
I'm with you. Let's make this easy. Here's the divisional round schedule. Saturday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Houston at Kansas City. 8 p.m. on Fox. Washington at Detroit. Sunday, LA at Philadelphia. 3 p.m. NBC and Peacock. Sunday night, Baltimore at Buffalo. 6:30 p.m. on CBS. Big ass game. National championship as it has been for I don't know how many years
Yeah,
now.
this one's
Monday
my bad.
night.
Yes, my bad. And forgive me.
But it's never been this late in the calendar.
That's true.
Which is new because this season's been longer.
All I'm telling you is this. Look, this is a feeling. I will tell you this as someone. You guys have been talking recently about how even the inside the NBA guys don't seem to love sport. They like making the television, but what they're watching, they don't all the jacked up threes. You got two guys who played in the post, who played muscle ball. Yesterday we're talking on the show, and Jessica offers us something I had not considered, that the mailman, one of the great sports nicknames of all time, might actually be obsolete as a profession before it is as a nickname, because it is an antique of a nickname. I came in thinking about Monday's show today, because I want to talk about the things that are going to happen this weekend that people are really excited about. The reason that I haven't wanted to be doing all of these preview shows all of my life is because for the last 20 years, this thing has burnt me crisp on belching out content all the time around it. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. It's an important game that the Colts played against the Giants, and neither of them knew how to handle it correctly. And that game changed the entirety of how now we are all interested in the stakes of this weekend. And all of a sudden, just like we're fire experts on how it is we can handle what's happening in California better, we all know what it's going to be like to watch Buffalo and Baltimore play in conditions where human beings shouldn't be trying to do athletic things.
Ooh, is the weather going to be bad?
Snow and 3 degrees below zero.
That's everything I want for that game.
Yeah, because it guarantees the quarterbacks are going to be running more, and we like it when those two quarterbacks run more.
Is that what you guys want? Because I want that game badly, but I was hoping to see that game where I wouldn't be able to do the Monday show. Oh, Lamar choked. He only got 13 points because the wind was blowing the ball around.
I love that the weather's going to be bad for that, because it's going to require those two quarterbacks to take their game to an obscene level. Oh, this is going to be great. Juliet's going to bed at 6:15.
So you're literally, is this, how many? Wait a minute.
6:15.
I already told my wife the same thing.
Are we not, wait, hold on. We're that show now?
Kids are stupid. You could just tell them it's 8:30.
Yeah,
Wait,
they are stupid. It's getting darker early.
We are now the show that has grown into having so many kids that we literally put the kids to bed early.
She's not ruining this for me.
Before a 6:30 Bills, you're putting the kids to bed before a 6:30 Bills Ravens
I'm putting
game?
my parents to bed. We're going to be in Atlanta. I'm going to say early dinner. You guys go back to the hotel. Me and Lehman, we got to go to a bar. We got to watch this game.
Tell my wife, you know what? Go watch Netflix in the bedroom. I need to be alone for this.
So, Jess, this is the problem that I had as I came in today, wanting to make sure that we get the most inspired of content. It is refreshing to see something around here that isn't University of Miami and Jimmy Butler come to life with real roaring inspired fandom where you're being soothed by the mothers of the players in the stands because you get the joyride of a lifetime, play for a championship, be around the team, be seen publicly as one of the coolest things we've birthed around here. People now know you as something that's associated with that football team adjacent. You're going to the game. You went to New Orleans. You came back battered.
You haven't thanked us yet.
I wanted you to be on after the game, and I'm hoping to bask in you wearing a crown because you're a national champion. Like, I'd love to have our show have something be adjacent to that and feel
Not
like
all
it
of
did
us
with
are
the
rooting for that.
Panthers. Like it did.
You may be alone on that one. Lucy and I will have a new Gen CFB this week in which I talked about a little bit of my thought process going into the game. Best case scenario, Notre Dame wins. I retire from my job. I move to an island somewhere. You never hear from me again. My life's work is complete.
Love that for you.
It's over. I have nothing to live for. I'll just paint pictures or make greeting cards. I don't know. Like, do one of my life's passions somewhere. I don't need anything anymore. I'm happy. I'm content. My soul's complete. Or Notre Dame loses. They're the second best team in the country this year. I keep doing what I'm doing. Either way, I'm a happy little clam.
And my life has renewed meaning.
So I think you underestimate how you might feel both ways on Tuesday, or what I thought was Monday, which made me against Martin Luther King Day, because I want the content of this. I'm down for the idea, Jessica, of making the stakes something similar to that, where if they actually win, you get some sort of Meadowlark bonus package that sends you off to an island somewhere for a couple of days to be the champion queen of Notre Dame or whatever. Like Jess wins a trip of her choosing as the champion, as the public sportsman for Notre Dame, when it's very much us against the world, Jess.
Terrible negotiator.
And do Roy, Mike, and I get something for this Panthers championship that happened a few months back? I mean, what are we doing here? Oh, so we get to keep our jobs, and she gets a bonus vacation.
Yeah, that seems fair.
Yeah.
Look,
think so.
she's doing the brave thing. This show's been us against the world for a long time. Nobody's rooting for Notre Dame except Notre Dame. Who the hell's rooting for Notre Dame?
Apparently Jesus, according to Riley Leonard.
Yeah, Jesus is.
Well, he said, so if you've been following this football season, Ohio State's players have been extremely vocal about being religious, and so Riley Leonard as well, and he made a comment yesterday. He was like, God's been on our side this season. We're the two most vocally religious teams, and look, we're in the national championship game. Some people obviously took offense to that. Some people were like, that's awesome. I don't know.
I just know
Make of
Jesus
it what
hates
you will.
Texas and Penn State. It's a god off.
But why don't?
Colorado's also religious. It's not all puppy dogs and ice cream.
So why don't you know, though, Jessica? Like, where do you stand on this? Because Cody, I never got to this because we were riding the joyride of Greg Cody, a prime times performance this week by Greg Cody, back to the old days. And so I never was able to get to this part with you. Greg Cody believes that America believes that they would like for Ohio State and Notre Dame to play each other on Monday night and for both of them to lose. That what America's watching on Monday is hate watching. It's like everyone here lose, and then you make sports a religious war because they are the two most religious teams at a time where the presidency is surrounded in a religious war, and Donald Trump holds a Bible upside down because he's so religious and the things that he hides in the Bible. Then we can turn the sports thing into Greg Cody is here. I wouldn't mind hearing from him on this. He thinks both teams want to lose, and both teams should lose, and I think he's on the right side of how America feels about it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have been writing is Notre Dame likable now takes, which I get what we're doing with that. That's like hey, Brian Kelly's not their head coach anymore. The new head coach is actually seems like a nice guy. I think fans of either team, I may speak for Ohio State fans, they don't really care if people like them. They just want to win the football game. So, I could think of 100 national championship matchups where I would be rooting for the asteroid too. And that doesn't really offend me as a Notre Dame fan, I think Mike Ryan wouldn't be offended if we were like, ew, Miami and Ohio State, disgusting. I don't want one of these teams to win. You'd be like, yeah, haha, suck it, I'm in the game.
Yeah, and also you lean in. Ohio against the world.
Embrace villainy.
Hate us because of anus.
Exactly. So, it doesn't bother me.
You guys are doing that, though, with and indifference. And what I'm telling you is when you talk about regional prides and the stuff that college football taps into, do you guys not understand that the indifference of, hey, Ohio State's a 9.5-point favorite, that conference kind of dragged the SEC. That conference has kind of taken the top of the sport from the SEC. It is us against the world. It is a situation where Ohio State is feeling what Miami Heat fans felt. What I don't know if
Notre Dame's basically ACC.
No, please.
Basically
No.
ACC adjacent.
No. Again, on Gen CFB, Lucy said, I consider Notre Dame spiritually Big Ten, and I threw up on my sweatshirt when she said that.
No, they're
spiritually, Notre Dame is nothing.
If anything, they're partially ACC.
Catholic, I guess, technically, but not in a conference.
Jim Phillips sucks.
Is anyone going to be watching Monday agnostically?
Honestly, I've Jess knows this. I've kind of been on Notre Dame for a couple months now. I love their style of play. Loved how they rebounded against Northern Illinois, and there's a lot of reasons to hate Notre Dame. Historical rivalry with Miami, Al Golden's stupid face. Yeah. But I'll be damned. I like this Notre Dame team. I like the way that they play. It's old school. They are gutsy. They are tough. I know that was a big discussion last week, but I was marveling at their ability to climb back into that game. They had every reason to quit in that game, and everybody would brush their hands off and say, that's a great season.
Also,
you overachieved.
I do want to go back to something I said last Friday, which was they played bad in the first half, and then they just played tough in the second half. Every coordinator after the game was like, yeah, we didn't really make any halftime adjustments. We just played, Al Golden was like, we just played better in the second half. So that corny analysis was accurate. And I will say one more thing. Al Golden has done such a good job at Notre Dame. I know several people that are like, no, he is the hot coach of the football team. They love him. They love his glasses. They love his rosy cheeks.
He's got like
They're all
early
over it.
onset paterno. He looks like a different person. Like the way that Greg Williams came back to the NFL, Al Golden looks borderline unrecognizable. And it's not just a necktie. Like he looks like an older man now. And have you seen him
Some would say distinguished.
Have you seen him be interviewed? Like they've asked him, "Hey, you're a leading candidate for the Cincinnati Bengals DC," and he's like, "Huh? I haven't left the building," and I believe him. I feel like he hasn't left that building since he signed there.
I think that's true. But going back to your point, Dan, like if Mike had said, I hate Notre Dame with a burning passion, I want them to lose by 60 points, I want them to have the most embarrassing game ever, I would be like, that's fair. I get that.
I also hate Ohio State, like a lot, because of, the Fiesta Bowl. So, yeah, I've seen Ohio State win national championships. I haven't seen Notre Dame win a championship in my lifetime. The last time they won a national championship, the radios were tinny, and I was all like, "Chubby Checker going down the sideline."
Were you born in the 80s? You were probably like 6 years old.
I don't remember them actually. Come on, not the co-championships. No one
Mike,
recognizes that.
Mike,
BS.
you just gave me the idea.
1988?
I know how this game needs to end.
That was 3.
It needs to end with Notre Dame winning on a questionable pass interference call.
Oh yeah, I'm down for that. Down for that.
You know who's really in a pickle right now? Michigan fans. I've heard several different. Sorry, you have a little schmutz on your face. It distracted me for a second.
I'm sorry. Is it a booger?
No, it's like a little fuzz on the other side. Yeah.
Can you get
It looks like a bug, actually.
a bug?
I don't think it's a bug, but
That'd be horrible.
because Michigan I got it. It was a little fuzz. Michigan fans, they don't want Ohio State to win, obviously, but then at the same time, they're like, well, if Ohio State wins, we've beaten the best Ohio State team in like a decade, and so that means like we're actually the best. But then at the same time, they're like, if Michigan finally won the national championship last year, and then Ohio State comes along, and they're like, what? Like it's hard? Like you don't want them to win. They're your hated rival.
Dan and Jess, I saw like one of these things like be bandied about on the internet, like, well, the expanded playoff makes like the regular season meaningless, and it makes upsets like Northern Illinois super meaningless. I'm like, what are you talking about? Can you imagine if Notre Dame actually wins the championship? That Northern Illinois upset lives forever.
Oh my God! All the championship pennants with like the scores of every game, and this NIU 16-14. That would be amazing. I said this last week, and I stand by it. If Notre Dame wins the national championship, Thomas Hammock gets a ring.
Yeah, he gets a ring.
I'll give him a statue.
Wow. Yeah, that narc.
And he'll have the second best.
You know
dunk
what
of
he
his
did,
career.
right? After he beat Marcus Freeman, he's like, hey. I'd love to give you some tips on how we beat you. Oh. And he like gave him like the whole playbook, and then Notre Dame's been damn near unstoppable since then.
Oh, well, that's not.
And it's a little unfair.
Thomas Hammock was like, here's how you beat Notre Dame. Have Riley Leonard have the worst game ever as a starting quarterback.
It's like the these analysis after the Penn State game, right? Just like play harder, and I'm like, oh, thanks, thanks, I appreciate that.
I find that refreshing. No convoluted. We started spying. None of that. No, we just executed. Yeah.
We laugh at it, but like sometimes, I don't know, if you've ever been in an athletic pursuit, sometimes you just, you have to dig really deep. And some days you do. Some days I run a 9-minute mile and I'm slow as shit and I feel like ass after.
What's happening?
Some days I dig deep.
What's
7.5.
happening what's happening on those 9
It's
minutes?
mental. It's totally mental.
What's going on? Give me the dialogue.
You're slow as shit. You complete asshole, run faster, you dumbass. I'm really mean to myself.
Do you answer? Do you ever answer inside your head? Because I have
I'm like, I just worked out yesterday, you
there you
bitch.
go.
Fuck you.
That's what I wanted.
And then when I'm running fast, I'm like, I'm unstoppable. I'm the fastest man in the whole world. No one can stop me. I'm so good at this. I'm so good at running. And then there's like 7 people zooming by me.
Rage running and loving yourself at the same time. I have a lot that I want to throw back at you guys because, Chris, do we have sound of Mike doing Chubby Checker the last time that
You're so slow.
that Chubby Checker ran down the sidelines? I don't know if we have that sound, but I do want to ask the audience.
No, I'm not, Bane.
Misogynist Bane is the voice in her head that tells her that she's not
Women
fast.
shouldn't even be allowed to run. Our uteruses will fall out. No, it won't. I think. Is that even a thing?
Put it on the poll, please. Does Al Golden have early onset paterno? Because Al Golden, I have to explain to the audience, you don't understand how confusing it is to be somebody who hoped that Miami could build these championship dreams. And Al Golden came to town with a tie, an orange tie, and a binder on how it is he was going to fix Miami and get them to all these things we're talking about faster than anybody, because he was given the keys to the kingdom long before Mario Cristobal, and he drove the program and wearing that tie the entire time, sweaty on the sidelines all the time. Cared deeply, was a young man when he was here, and the job did that to him, has turned him into a mutant with early onset Paterno. Because Al Golden was a clown in Miami, cared deeply, knew what he was doing, but failed miserably. Everybody ran him out of town, and now he's trying to climb back up into coaching, and he's done so at Notre Dame, bringing the rah-rah. Man, he gave and gives. Great coach.
Oh, dude, I watched that press conference again last week when he was asked, like, so why did you take this job? And he goes, you kidding me? Oh, man, I love that guy so much. And I think, he's been very good behind the scene, almost too good and a little disingenuous about, like, not knowing the full scope of the sanctions. It's completely untrue. He knew, but he's very good at putting that out there that he didn't know, so much so that he's convinced everybody of this, even though it's completely untrue and he knew everything that was going to happen. But he was young enough. And we've seen coaches fail their first time. The greatest head coach of all time had a head coaching job in Cleveland. Didn't go great. Became the greatest head coach of all time. He's done so much, and you can learn from your failures. And Al Golden has certainly done that. And, dude, this guy was, like, coaching tight ends for the Bengals. Like, he was an afterthought. It never felt like that guy would amount to anything.
Linebackers coach.
Well, no. He went from tight ends, and then he went to linebacker, and then
because he was on the Bengals team that played in the Super Bowl, I believe.
Yeah. I think at that point he might have switched, and now that's how he got the defensive.
We laughed him out of town, relieved.
Dude, his final act was Dabo, like, sunning him at midfield in one of the more embarrassing results in program history.
58-0 that game?
Yeah.
He was like, 40 when Miami hired him to be the head coach? Like, he was the head coach at Temple and then came to Miami. And you're saying that he knew Miami was on double secret probation or whatever the hell
I'm saying
happened.
Al behind the scenes is very good at convincing people that he didn't know the full scope of the sanctions when it's not totally true.
Al Golden is in his 50s?
He's like, these things suck up on me. It's not exactly accurate, but it's okay, man. Like, at the end of the day,
I don't like Al Golden.
You're the DC,
but I don't know. I was like in middle school when this happened. So
he looks like he's like 70.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. Like, it's wild.
Al Golden?
Now, yeah, it's wild to see.
He looks old.
He looks younger than Dan.
No, he doesn't. How dare you?
Whoa,
How
no,
dare you?
No, he doesn't. That's just a clean shave.
I want side-by-side photos of me and Al Golden immediately, because you're telling me the point I was about to make, Jessica.
I cut him.
The point, no,
you
know
why
what?
I did that.
No, Jessica, it's okay. I deserve
But Dan
it.
looks young. That was my point.
Jessica.
Dan doesn't look 70.
No, not a kick Saban of Butte.
Jessica, I swear to you that you rage running and taking me inside the thoughts on wherever it is you're meanest to yourself, like, I'm fine. Whatever the last 3 years have done to you being in the middle of this slop, University of Miami people yelling at you about how much more special University of Miami time is than Notre Dame time, because we wear the scars of those wars back when Mike's allegiances were made, even though he didn't go to the school, because Miami fighting Notre Dame was the top of the sport, and that was amazing fun. I need to celebrate the fact that Notre Dame is here, because the stakes for them, I can't believe that what I'm about to say. We laughed Al Golden out of town. We laughed Dan Campbell out of town. That laughing hardened those men. And now one of them looks like Al Golden and one of them looks like Dan Campbell, because the sport will do that to you. Its stresses will do that to you. Yeah. Climbing to where Marcus Freeman looks beautiful atop the sport.
You do look older than him.
That's not a good.
You have to get the glasses, and him looking over his glasses on the field like, huh? What?
This almost looks like Al Golden.
They picked the best version of Al Golden as a photo.
That's what he looks like.
I try to protect you, Dan.
No.
One of him looking really old.
Mike's right.
That's from this week. This is from the Orange Bowl.
Doesn't matter. Mike's right. When he wears the glasses, he looks like, it looks like Mr. Magoo.
Yeah. Early onset Paterno.
Then we need a glasses photo of Dan to go next to it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, damn.
And just put your glasses
And also,
Put your
you're
glasses
moving the
on, Dan.
goalposts.
Hold on.
You never said glasses, no
Hold
glasses.
on.
I never pretended to not be.
We're going to do this fair. Dan, put on your glasses right now.
Yeah, you got to.
Dan, put on the glasses.
I will.
Dan,
Please.
don't talk. Put on the glasses. Put on the glasses. Don't say a word. Put on the
All right,
glasses.
see, he looks really old there. He looks like Christopher
at that.
Walken in Blast
Oh,
from the
come on.
Past.
He looks weird.
How
I don't
dare
think he
you.
looks old.
That's early onset paterno. We'd all agree.
He
I
looks
don't know
like
what that means. That has a different connotation
can't
to
tell.
people
Yeah.
born
Not
in
the
the
not the
90s.
really bad way, guys. Don't make this more awkward.
Dan doesn't have his glasses on. I can't tell who looks
point.
older.
I will get to putting my
Dan would
glasses.
speak up.
Okay.
I only made the comparison because they're the same age, okay?
You still got the Oakleys?
Jessica,
At least I hope he would.
Jessica, I swear you have not insulted me.
I'm
okay?
insulted.
I have, and I feel bad about it.
Dan, I'm insulted.
No.
I'm insulted on your behalf.
Okay.
That was the
dare
picture
you.
I was hoping for, though.
I would like the help of the group. Okay. This is what I wish for the crescendo of whatever this is to be. I want it to be a golden off. I want 2 pictures on the screen of your choosing, whatever unfairness or fairness the video department wants to put together right now. What the sport has done to Al Golden, it has also done to be here, to be adjacent to those sports and try and build a media machine. And that too has aged me. And my brother died. My face got gray very fast.
But we saw the Wilford clip yesterday. You look better now.
Oh, way better. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Because of all the grief weight that you lost.
No.
Great.
I mean, it helped.
What are you guys doing?
What?
Why are you doing this?
I mean, there's the occasional, happy byproduct.
Look,
Dan, I'm offended on
I
your
ate
behalf.
my feelings and my cortisol shot up, and deathbed stuff is gruesome for 10 months. Thanks, Mike, for doing that. But I want you guys to put a picture of me up at my worst, if you wish, because I want to have a contest here.
Or your best.
That is your word.
Okay.
You look better now than you did in that. That is by far one of the worst photos I've ever seen.
Dan, I'm sticking up for you here, but come on, man.
You look better now.
You're not giving me ammo here.
We were talking to you in the back. You have a literal silver lining on your mouth.
Okay. No, it's totally fair, and I'd like to stay here. And if
You look
want-
like if Chris Penn got sick.
He's dead. He's dead.
Well, I meant
Sicker.
Yeah.
Than dead? You think I look sicker than Chris Penn after he died?
You have I can't. You have South Park teeth. I can't describe it any better.
Okay. Hey, you know what?
Oh no.
Come on, man. Hey, how dare all of you people, man? This man is an economy. How dare you?
No, look, I will travel this path wherever it is that everyone wishes to take it, and may Jessica be able to mock me from here forevermore. Please, play this game with me. At the end of this segment, I've got a couple of different things happening because Jeremy hasn't said anything. He
shouldn't.
Well, okay, but Jeremy has breaking heat news that we haven't been able to get to. He's an inside information guy. He's got news that no one else has that he can break right now, but he can't tell me what it is. And he's like, it's fun news, it's good news. And I'm like, you have heat news? And I'm like, yes. And I'm like, well, let's do it. And he's like, no, we've got to embargo it. And I'm like, what? We're bought and paid for like the rest of the heat media? We've got to embargo things? We're doing the heat favors now? Like if we've got news, we break news. If we've got news, we break news. Like what? We vetted it. We know that the news is news, and you're an insider, and we have the news. We haven't been able to get to it. When can I get to it? Because I want to betray the Miami Heat. I wish to break this news before the Miami Heat wishes to have this news broken.
Let me triple confirm on this news. Make sure that I have enough sources to guarantee that everything I'm going to be reporting is real. But you know what, Dan? You're right. I don't want to be viewed as a Heat mouthpiece either.
Oh.
Maybe we break this news a little early.
Wait a second. You've got a job to worry about, and I'm not talking about the one here. You work there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to, betray anybody, but,
No, I am. So wait a minute.
You want to betray people?
Yes.
Including me.
Yes.
And especially you.
Yes, mostly you. Yes, but also I'm not comfortable with how it is that I have staked my national reputation on I am Miami Heat adjacent. I'm a homer. I'm journalistically bought. And then that births Mike Ryan in the LeBron years, and he's bought, and Parakeet Cortez, and he's bought,
God.
and a yet more extreme bought Heat media member. And you represent either the best or the worst of that evolution, where you're hiding news on behalf of the Miami Heat. I don't work for the Miami Heat. You may.
Neither do I.
Well, okay.
Technically.
So I want that news. If you have the news, if it's vetted, if we're a news organization or we're a network, and if I don't want to be a Heat mouthpiece, I wish to break the news you have.
Dan, rest easy. This show will have that news before anyone else.
We will be first. I can promise you that.
We will be first, and I know this embargo that's kind of in place, we're going to bypass that approximately 10 seconds before the embargo is lifted.
You hear that, Barry Jackson?
10 seconds?
Hear that,
Yes.
kid reporters?
No, okay. How much time do we have? When's it been embargoed to? Because I want to break that rule. Now you guys are just being kind to
You know
the
what?
Heat. You don't.
20
You want.
seconds.
You want to make sure
20
they don't.
seconds?
20 seconds early.
Oh, man.
20 seconds early.
Dan,
'cause we were
20
kinda mean to
seconds is
Dan.
a long time in social media world.
I think the news is breaking at 10 o'clock and 10 seconds.
I think by that time we beat the YouTube delay.
I will nationally break that story in seconds. But getting back to whether I look worse than Chris Penn getting sick after he's dead. Getting sick after he's dead. Getting sick after
I don't know who that
dead.
is, so if I laughed, that was.
You don't know who Chris Penn is?
Well, Chris
Sean
Penn
Penn's
is Sean
brother.
Penn's brother.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
and he was in Reservoir Dogs. That's his most. Is that his most famous role?
He was in Rush Hour. He was
in
the guy
Rush
in
Hour.
jail who sold the C4. I don't want to touch that because you're going to have my fingerprints on that. That guy. No?
What is Chris Penn's most famous role? I
Rush
say.
Hour.
I think it's Rush Hour in terms of like commercial success.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Chris Penn's most famous role: Reservoir Dogs or Rush Hour?
It's more disrespectful that I said I didn't know who he was than laughing at the mean joke. At
Absolutely.
Dan. Okay.
Jessica,
He's
this
been
is
dead for like 20 years. right?
Jessica, this is what I'm telling you is that this is not a mean joke. That since I've been on television, I've been compared to visually two people, Chris Penn and Flounder from Animal House, facially. Jessica, you're finding that too funny. The woman who's rage running, saying saying the things you say to yourself.
Flounder comedically is a funny fish, okay?
Is there any Oliver Platt in there?
There is. He's being omitted. OLI.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm on your side, Dan, but damn.
I'm fine with this. I've endured the scars of 20 years. Look, man, when I appeared on television, I was a pioneer for fat people. I was representation.
Oh, I think Oprah.
DEI?
Oprah, then you.
I opened the door to win horses worldwide. That was not allowed
That's
before.
a different flounder.
A different flounder.
Wrong
guys.
flounder.
So I wear the scars, and when I'm meanest to myself, I'm mean to Flounder.
Yeah, you represent so little to so many.
So much to
No.
so many with so much.
No, I said so little on purpose.
Okay, it's my scar. Allow me to play with it. I've been fat on television for 20 years.
People have been telling me I look like you, Dan, like a young you, so that might be worse.
I'm sorry, man.
Better get that shit fixed.
Yeah, it's not great.
Well, young me, broadcasting legend me begins. You guys can find the bowels of that if you want I think my youngest internet photo would be covering Udonis Haslem in high school. I think the Miami Herald High School Sports Show, I think, is me stiff. And my friends now, my college friends, do an impersonation of me from back then. And it's, wow, what a play. Because I didn't know how to be a broadcaster.
It's like he's right here in front of us.
Right here, he's grown up, all bloated, all fat on your television for 30 years, really.
What do you think is the best photo you've ever taken? Oh, I think not just for
The
like
Speedo one,
laughs,
definitely.
but like how you look. The Speedo one you don't look bad in.
That one.
That one, yeah, the most eligible bachelor
Yeah.
one. No,
How old are you in this photo?
What's going on with the face?
31.
are you taking a shit on a pool table?
Because he's on a pool table. That's what makes him look great, right? It's like, look, you know
Whoa,
what?
all right.
You know,
We could
like,
stand
here's the
up,
thing.
guys.
Like, most people are like, oh, you guys play on this device? I sit on it. I squat on it. That's how I do it because I'm eligible. Ladies, who want some of
You were
this?
barefoot on this pool table?
If I may, that story, you guys have no earthly idea, okay, what it is you've now opened that is just a real sneak peek into some of my real vulnerabilities where there is maximum shame. Like, you guys are going to basically right now see me naked because People Magazine wanted me coming out of the shower naked.
No,
Why would they want that?
No, they didn't.
Okay, listen to me. There was a man in this. There was a stunt man in People Magazine's 100 Most Eligible Bachelors who was on fire. There was a man, he was on fire because he was a stunt man. They made 3 requests of me. This was the least bad of the 3, the only one I was willing to do. However, while I was doing it,
What were the other 2 requests? Go finish.
yes, of course. I mean, I know how to do my own show. Yes, I'm right here. I'm doing it.
He's here.
I'm in the middle of doing it.
Do you
Yes.
still have this shirt, by the way?
Listen to me. I wore that shirt because it was in that magazine for about 9 years after that, because it's the only shirt I've ever looked good in.
That's like one of the most 90s. Can we put that shirt back up there? Is it a long sleeve? Is it a short sleeve? Is it a turtle? Is it a mock turtle?
It's a mock turtle.
It
Like,
is
that was hot back then.
So 90s.
And it's back now. I saw Matt Ryan wearing one on CBS this weekend, Dan.
He dyes his hair now.
Let Dan finish the story.
Thank you.
We're listening.
So I am really vulnerable here, as I probably don't need to tell you. Really? We're going to do a People Magazine photo shoot, and you guys are making pretty ridiculous requests. Okay, I guess I'll do that one. I'll squat on the pool table. There's a camera crew there. People Magazine is throwing money at whatever this ridiculous photo is. My front door opens, and with a laundry bag of dry cleaning coming home, my roommate at the time in a home, Cubs announcer John Boog Shambi,
No way.
sees his friend and roommate in the middle of a photo shoot and says, "What the fuck you doing? Squatting on the pool table?"
Get your feet off the pool table. That's incredible. He had no idea this was happening?
No!
That's stunning to walk in
He
on.
came home to that!
Was he also an eligible bachelor? Because that's...
Do you think he'd be jealous there? No, because he's only mocked me for it for the rest of my life. He walked right into the center of, I shouldn't be doing this, but this seems like a decent way to not be single and date. No?
He's got a confession.
Welcome to 2022. Omicron is on the run, and away it went. But oops, there goes gravity, and here comes a new variant. Omaha, Corona, Hut 1, Hut 2, nothing infects the Super Bowl, and nothing stops football.
Racism, greed, trauma to brain and spine. And yet, I cannot look away. Heroes are dead. Science has their heads. Oh, is there no escape from here? I need to know. It eats my soul. Nothing stops the NFL. Is this hell? cockfighting, CTE prayer circles. They blackballed the black baller. They tried to end racism by stenciling it in the end zone. Billionaire boys using millionaires as toys. It's all immoral, all unethical. Ooh, the witching hour. Nothing stops the NFL. Heaven or hell, I can't tell. It's Urban and Snyder and Flores and Gruden, but Kyler, but Kelsey, but Cooper, but Canty. It's cheating and tanking and bounties and banking, but parlays, but face paint, but promo, but innings.
Here we go. This one's for all the glory. Give it your best, it's all you got. Don't look back. Oh, it's all part of the story. You talk the talk, now walk the walk. Yeah.
When the game's on the line, will you have the guts to make the call? When it's crunch time, will you make us scream, God bless football?
Say it louder. From the back of every bar, on the subway, on the streets or in your car, wherever you have found yourself, scream out your battle cry. I'm all in. I'm all in. Fourth and goal, or pin back at your 30. Time to prove you're a hot shot. Let's attack. Oh, your name is Brandon Staley. Unleash some hell and go for gold. Yeah.
A few yards a game. Does your QB have the guts? Will you just punt or throw it up to Cooper Cup?
Say it louder. From the back of every bar, or the subway, on the streets or in your car, wherever you have found yourself, scream out your battle cry. I'm all in.
One play at a time, boys. One play at a time. Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing.
All in. All in? I'm a fan of the Jets. I'm a fan of the Jets. The Jets. The Jets. Why this team? The Jets! The Jets!
Stugotz, what's the matter, buddy?
I mean, Greg, just one time. 40 years I've been rooting for this team, and just one time I wanted my team to play in that big game in that beautiful dome in Los Angeles.
Dome? What about the elements? Back in my day, we didn't play in a dome. Let me tell you, back in my day, we considered football to be an honorable game. We didn't have to pass the ball every single play, and that's how we did it back in my day. It's the cold in December and sweltering two-a-days. It's embracing occasional punts, and don't get me started on instant replay. Now we're cooking with gas. Watch out. I'm not done, by the way. Let me tell you, back in my day, there was no showboating. We respected the game. We sat on a stoop and let the radio play, 'cause that's how we did it back in my day. It's the wishbone I wish for. It's a toss to Red Grange. It's a first down without a taunt. Playing the game the right way. Whoa! No retractable roofs. I'm talking frozen tundras and ice bowls. No bad Brooklyn.
Just now,
Yeah.
my father said, "What are you doing?" I said, "TV," and I took a picture.
Oh, that's cute. Speaking of cute, we have a question for you. Very important one. We're going to put two men on the screen, and you are going to tell us which one looks younger.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry about anybody's feelings here. Just give us your honest appraisal.
Dan and Al Golden.
Diana
The
Rossini.
player in the background. Dan looks younger.
Yeah.
So I think you can judge, you can figure out people's ages, I have found, by their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
The lines around their eyes can usually tell you. And I think Dan has really nice eyelids. They look young.
Is Dan
What's the
helping
age
his
difference?
case by casually flexing his biceps
No,
right now?
I'm
like we wouldn't
I thought he was
notice.
surrender Cobra.
Look, man.
I do the same thing all the time. I'm like, yeah, so the Cowboys are looking for somebody to come over.
Look at that.
Dude, I
Hey,
put like an
Diana.
hour in the
Jesus.
gym in the morning.
Whoa.
I'm going to show this off. Dan's showing it off.
You said you have
I was
nice
not-
eyelids.
No.
Nice eyelids.
It's okay.
Your hair is small.
Did you get a blephaloplasty? Is that what it's called?
I am not comfortable with this group of people objectifying me. I object in 2025 to all of you leering at me and saying I have nice eyelids. You've been fat shaming the shit out of me on television for 20 years.
Well, your eyelids are not fat. I think it's almost impossible to have fat eyelids.
Not true.
So you heard Jess just talk about this eye thing. You guys definitely don't know what she's talking about. I know what she's talking about because I'm going to guess our algorithms on TikTok are the same.
Thank you, Diana. Save me.
Yeah, women do the same thing. We look at other hot girls, a couple sports things, and beauty secrets. And the biggest beauty secret thing, the trend right now, is you get this surgery. They cut these tiny little like slits at the top of your eyelids, and they pull it back to just give you sort of that Dan youthfulness, where it just
They call it the
gives you a
Levitard.
fresher look. But the thing that's fascinating about it is the women that are doing these, they're documenting every day. And when you look at the photos of the first 2 or 3 days of recovery, it is the most frightening image because there's obviously all these little slits around your eyes, an area that you would think is so sensitive. But it works. Then you look at the before versus the after, you're like, oh my God, they look 10 years younger.
It's crazy. It's like super black and blue. It looks like you got two black eyes, and then Yeah, it's just
Some of us are naturally beautiful like Dan, and some of us have to go get slits in our eyelids.
It's true.
I would like for the video team to find whatever video they can of me, young or old, because you guys think you're hurting me in some way by telling me I've been ugly or am ugly or my face is bloated.
You just alluded to that.
Or I only have nice
We're
eyelids.
comparing two hot guys to each other, Dan.
You know what?
Chris Penn?
You are saying, look, you don't understand quite how egregious this insult is, okay? So Diana, I'm going to frame it for you this way because they're not experiencing this the way I am. I've been trying to hide my fat in front of people for 20 years, and I've failed because this show does very well at making fun of my fat. Do you know who Chris Penn is, Diana?
That's Oliver Platt.
That's Oliver Platt. Close.
It's easy to get the two mixed up.
Yeah, y'all are being disrespectful, man.
It's an unfortunate image,
disrespectful so-and-sos.
That feels almost intentional.
Honestly, this is better than Chris Penn, though.
Yeah.
No way.
As in more accurate.
All right,
Well,
put up
'cause
Chris
the eyebrows.
Penn now, guys.
The eyebrows are a little closer on
Who
Platt.
is that doppelganger?
Don't say that, Diana.
You're making it worse.
Don't
You
say
think
that.
I am
Hold on.
Oliver Platt's doppelganger? Okay, look.
No.
I would like for you guys,
Whopper gang.
guys,
Oh, God. No, that's Chris Penn.
No.
Oh, you don't like that
First
one?
of all,
Okay.
I mean, that chin looks like he has a +1 to whatever event he's going to there. There's a lot going on there. You
Rest
don't
in
have
peace.
a chin like that.
Rest in peace.
Okay,
he's
listen,
been dead for 20 years.
Diana, lest you think they're being cruel to me, okay? The way this started was...
Not Robbie Coltrane.
Come on. Hold on.
Oh, what are we doing now?
We're just throwing up fat people at this
People-
Hold on.
Look,
Can I see him clean shaven?
Guys, let me explain something to you. There is simply nothing you can put on that screen that I have not already been lashed with, so have at it. Just let me get through the part of the show where I'm explaining to Diana the incredible cruelty she's walking into, and I want her to have it and be able to play with it. You're coming into a situation, Diana, where they have accused me of looking older than someone that they're accusing of having early onset paterno.
There's Hagrid without the
Well,
beard.
come on.
None of the baggage associated with Paterno, just like the physical.
We have
appearance.
compared him to two different deceased people.
Paterno was an 80-year-old coach my entire lifetime. He was an old man my entire lifetime. They're saying I am older than someone with early onset Paterno. But that's not the worst of it. The worst of it is they have said that I look worse than Chris Penn. They say I look like Chris Penn died, which he did, and then got sicker.
Oh, come on. Now we're just putting up any fat
Fluffy.
person.
Now we're
come
putting up
on,
the comedian
man.
Fluffy.
Dan, you
Got
don't
good
look.
skin.
Hey, he
You
does
don't
have
look
good
like
skin.
him.
But that's also touched up.
Yeah, that's a Photoshop right there.
Well, touch me up.
Well,
Phrasing?
It's an HR issue.
We should try to see what Dan would look like with the filter. Like just a light. Jess, you know the ones we use on Instagram and their stories. They're just like these very light skin smoothing filters. I think it would be
I don't use them, but yeah, it's okay that you use them.
Jess, you're just all natural on social. You just lean into this is me, accept me, all the flaws with it.
Yeah. You don't do that. I mean, there's no filter on those biceps, Diana.
yeah.
Well, it's called You're Naturally Beautiful, and everyone knows that, and it's frustrating. But some of us who are older, a lot older than you, Jess, we have to, make ourselves feel a little bit better. So you slap that filter on.
Oh, no.
But for Dan, like, first of all, I don't know why you guys. I think the problem is Dan's always been the oldest person on the show. So to everyone that works with him, he probably feels like he's 60, but he's just been doing it so long.
Why did
Dan,
they-
I don't. Dan, how old are you?
They put up two photos of Dan just now.
I mean, he's almost 60.
I'm 56, but I've got early onset paterno, and I look sicker than a dead Chris Penn.
You look good. And also, like, you being sad doesn't do great for your lines. So I have a question for Diana that's a football-related question. You're a mother. Are you putting your kids to bed before Ravens Bills like the rest of us responsible parents? Because no child should see what's going to happen at Orchard Park. This is one of the biggest games of all time.
I agree. We're actually having a major problem in this house because I am covering the Rams-Eagles game in Philadelphia. And as you guys know, my husband's family's its season ticket holders. So he's attending the game as well. And we don't have childcare at this moment. So we're trying to figure out how we're going to leave New Jersey to go to Philadelphia so I can do my job and he can attend. And I would think you guys would understand that. Don't you think that I should have the priority because it's my job to attend the game, to cover it as a journalist? He's making the argument that his family's had season tickets since 1974. And that while he understands it's my job to be there, he thinks that he should have the edge this weekend in case we don't have the childcare. In fact, I would actually like your answer because someone needs to solve the problem here, unless, Michael, you want to take over and watch Mikey and Joey for me.
Well, Diana, I have a question, first of all. Without getting too personal, how old is your husband? Was he alive in 1974?
Kev is 39, so no.
So they had a strong, decade of doing this without him. They'll be fine.
His family is fine without him. We live 2 hours away. They are surviving.
You should not have to justify anything beyond I'm working. I bring in money for this.
Oh, well, but hold on a second. Yeah, I would just ask Diana this genuinely. Does your husband, you've called him an Eagles fan zealot, and I don't know where Eagles fans are this week on I'd like to waive A.J. Brown and fire Sirianni. But wherever the emotions of that reside among adult children that you run around, your husband included, you chase the other two, and I'm sure he's a bit of an infant too, and I don't know him. I don't have to know him if you told me that you dated a bunch of the Tommy DeVito's agents. Does your husband have any earthly idea how hard your job and your journey actually is? Does he have any capable understanding of how hard it is to be you in the insider game, or does he have no understanding of that?
He has complete understanding, which is why this is such a buffoon response from him to say that he should be at the game, because he gets it. He lives this with me. I've told you guys about it. I wouldn't be able to do what I do without Kevin because he comprehends the NFL landscape so well, and he understands the competitive nature to it. And he understands the importance of me being there for the Athletic to cover a really big game. But he doesn't have the ability to separate and maybe even a little bit of the maturity to go, oh, wait, this is my wife's job. I am attending. He thinks he's part of it. I think he thinks A.J. Brown is his brother. He thinks Nick Sirianni is like Uncle Nick. We're not the Eagles. We support them. We cheer for them. I have to go cover them for this.
Yeah.
Wow, she
and
just
you can't do that though, because he's got a great job too. But I've tried that. I'll point to things, or the roof, or I point to the watch I got him for Christmas, or the nice new sneakers I bought him. But he contributes too. He's not a stay-at-home dad, so I don't have a lot of argument here.
But Diana, you have a very strong argument. They've been season ticket holders since '74. That means there was a strong decade where they did this without your participation, sir.
Going back to this, huh?
Yes, absolutely.
He thinks he's making a great point.
You don't think
let him cook?
No, but look at how he leans in his seat. I got here late and I'm cooking now, baby.
Let him cook.
Well, no, listen to me. I'm going to make the point again. You guys might not have heard it. It's not that a show that doesn't listen is unimpressed by your point. I'm going to make it again.
I'm hanging on every word.
I can't tell whether you're not listening or you're not impressed by the point. Which one is it?
It's on him. So either way, whatever you decide, your kids cannot be awake for this Ravens-Bills game. No child should see that. That's going to be ultra-violent. I'm being told that the weather is going to be bad, which I think lends itself to more drama and more narrative building around these quarterbacks who are the two leading contenders for MVP. Is this indeed one of the biggest playoff games of our lifetimes?
Yeah, I said it the other day on Scoop City on the podcast, and I had people react crazy, like I was overstating what this game means and what it will be. Everyone obviously pointing to the Chiefs-Bills game and, with the 13 seconds, and we all know how that turned out. And that was a tremendous game. I remember watching it, and I didn't get that assignment when I was at ESPN. I think I had Titans-Bengals, and Sal Palantonio got that game. and he's on the field chasing after Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes after the Chiefs won that game in incredible drama and fashion. But I think for this one, the reason why I think it is what it is obviously the conversation we've had all year about the, sizing up Lamar Jackson to Josh Allen and who's the better quarterback, all of that, on top of the fact that they're playing the best football of any other team right now. They are playing at the height of what they've done all year. They're rested, they're healthy. On top of the fact that I like that there's a little bit of nerves in this. Lamar Jackson
hit her with it again.
He gets a little
hit her with it
uptight.
again. Hit her with it again.
In playoffs, so I'm
you gotta
excited
respect
to see how
that.
the Bills are going to handle it.
Stop for a second, Diana. I'm sorry. We've got breaking news. We're betraying the Miami Heat. We are. They say we have an embargo. We do not have an embargo. We are not bought and paid for by the Miami Heat. Jeremy, what is your breaking news? Hurry up.
Dan, the original Miami Vice jerseys are back.
You got to be kidding me.
They're wearing that this season?
They debut on Friday against the Nuggets.
Diana Rossini.
Huge deal.
Does an incredible job of covering this sport. She comes on with us regularly to make us, a bunch of dumbasses, smarter about the sport that we claim to like more than any other. And we break her analysis.
Why is Jimmy Butler on the graphic?
To let everybody know about a fashion choice?
No, not just any fashion choice. These were the most popular City Edition uniforms in the history of the NBA. I think they sold more than any out of all the ones that they've done. And it really changed the course of basketball uniforms entirely and across all of sport. Because of the popularity of this jersey, all the teams started doing Vice, especially in Europe, and they were all hot sellers. Guys, this is a welcome bit of good news for this franchise.
And the Heat really pushed to bring these back. This is not like in conjunction with a bunch of other teams dropping jerseys. This was the Heat pushing for a long time to bring this back.
2 City Editions. What do you think of that, Diana?
I think that was a really good move because it gave me a chance to catch up on some stuff. I have 15 missed text messages, including some coaching stuff. So thank you.
Yeah,
this
we're
was
wasting.
good. I'm excited.
Right,
these jerseys are going to be hot.
Yeah, Diana, I'm sorry. This is disrespectful to you. All of it is. And Jeremy, we're a marketing arm now for this team. It's disgusting. Like, what do I put him on? Here, let me see. Hold on just a second. That thing just.
Major penalty on the ice. 5 minutes for spreading propaganda. When did we get that one?
Oh, it's personalized.
And also.
Major penalty, 5 minutes, high sticking.
Diana, respect your sport. The size of this game in America's most popular sport, it feels like on merit. It kind of feels like, it feels like we're going to all watch the Super Bowl. We're going to watch the Super Bowl before they play the Super Bowl if we're just talking about, I know these teams merit being the best team.
And she was trying to make comparisons to that Bills-Chiefs game. That established a narrative for the Buffalo Bills that has always kind of lingered. This team, famous losers in the Super Bowl, and that was an incredible game, but we do a lot of reverse engineering around the myth around that game. We remember it as great because it ended up being great, but the storylines entering that where you essentially, it's like a game of Highlander. There can be only one. You have two franchises simultaneously having the same narrative around it. You got to win the big game. You got to go through Patrick Mahomes. They're fighting for the right to seemingly do that unless Houston shocks the world. So the narratives around this are aplenty, and you have the two leading candidates for MVP. I really can't fathom, especially in that primetime window on CBS. This is the biggest divisional game of my lifetime.
Diana, can you put it in the historic context as well of this, which is, for 20 years, this sport became this popular because being atop the AFC East was where the Patriots could live, getting buys every year, winning championships, doing what Kansas City is doing now before Kansas City did it, which is, the best one only gets one of those to me. I'm getting a bye, and I'm going to play a team in the next round. I'm not going to have to go through both Baltimore and the Bills. The Bills go 17 years without winning a playoff game. They get Josh Allen. They're at the top of the sport. He's playing the MVP, an organization that it can be argued is if not one of the best 3 in all of sports the last 20 years. The Ravens are an organization that births excellence, and they'd be something closer to the Patriots if not for the Patriots existing, because that team has been that good for that long. This game and the history of the league and the stakes, what is it? When Mike says it's the biggest one ever, do you say, no, it's bigger than that?
No, I think Mike said his lifetime, which I'd say the last 10 years. I can't speak to, I don't know what was at stake 30 years ago. But for my time covering the NFL, this is without a doubt one of the biggest games. I hate ranking it and rating it. And because here's the thing, I had no idea the Bills were going to be this good this year. I was the one yelling and screaming on the show in the summer going, guys, this is rebuild time for the Bills. This is not a team that has any star players and good options on offense. I don't know how this is going to work. Stephon Diggs gets shipped to the Houston Texans. I can't name the other receivers that I think could actually make a difference. And then we figure out that, oh, wait, they don't actually need any superstars because they've got the guy. They've got Josh Allen, who's figured out ways to win every single game and has grown and improved this entire season. I think that's one of the bigger storylines headed into this. The mistakes we've seen Josh Allen make in the past, he doesn't make those anymore. He doesn't.
Well,
and he's cleaned that up.
Diana, you say that's clean that up. I didn't know that was a thing that people could do. I've seen it in my lifetime with Tiki Barber. He went from fumbling to not fumbling. But for Josh Allen to go as an evolution at the position, like when I say the evolution of the position, quarterbacks who can move, throw, do both things, be a running back, throw the ball. To see him become a player who is that team turns the ball over historically less than any team. Like they're not only not reckless anymore. That's a team that is as good as it is and has eliminated all the Bills' stench precisely because Josh Allen doesn't give the football away anymore.
That used to be the knock on him. When I would talk to defensive coordinators before their games, especially the big ones, I can remember specifically with Cincinnati, it was kind of, let's just wait to see if he makes a mistake. Let's see him throw the ball away and let's take advantage of it. Let's take advantage of, especially in the red zone. And they can't do that anymore. They can't do it because it's not happening. And I can tell you the Ravens defense already is going to have their hands full with this offensive line in Buffalo because they're another unit I think that's been underrated a bit or at least overlooked at times as we saw them handle the Broncos front with ease last week.
They're also really deep too. They've suffered injuries, especially in that game. They suffered a big injury. Number 70, I forget his name for the moment, but he was dominating. Went out of that game. That was, as you mentioned, one of the best D lines in the league, one of the best defensive fronts. And this, I think, what have they allowed? Just 14 sacks on the season for Josh Allen, who leans on his mobility and his athleticism, can hold on to the ball a little bit longer to make plays. That's an insane number for sacks surrendered.
I was talking to someone in Buffalo right before I hopped on with you guys. And we were just having broad stroke conversation about keys to the game. What are you guys thinking about? And it's just so funny how the simplicity of some of this can be. I know we could spend an hour deep diving into the X's and O's of what the difference will be, but his answer was just slow down Lamar, because at the end of the day, that is going to be the difference. Can the Buffalo defense figure out a way to slow down Lamar? Because, there's that guy, Derrick Henry, in the backfield now too, that they've got to worry about. And it's no longer entirely on the quarterback. And that's the edge the Ravens have now. Even though we've seen in years past, teams have struggled stopping Lamar too, but now they got to worry about both these guys. On top of the fact that Todd Monken's done a really good job with this offense outside the run game. There's obviously options in the passing game. So I do like this time of year where you want these answers of the smallest of details. But I think that's also what adds to how awesome this game is going to be is it going to be Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson? Who's going to play better? And that's going to be the answer to who wins this game.
Someone just tweeted this one at me. I'm not sure who this actor is or if this is offensive in some way, but I guess the
That's a
facial
dude
hair.
from Rounders. That was a dude that was trying to collect from Ed Norton in
Wait,
Rounders.
are you sure that's him? I know Rounders pretty well. That doesn't look
I'm
like
pretty
that
sure
guy.
that's a dude from Rounders, man. I
Dan,
just saw
is there
Rounders, dude.
Is there a guy, an actor, someone famous, Dan, that people have said you look like that maybe you don't see, but you lean into it?
Robert Pastorelli. That's his name.
I don't. This
flounder is the answer to your question.
Yes. Well, that's the first one I got. So this is. I arrive on television and I'm fat. And Tony and Mike are very popular on Pardon the Interruption, and it's a groundbreaking show, and they hate me. Everybody hates me because they want Tony and Mike. So I'm the fat guy who replaces Tony and Mike. And so what I get immediately is an assortment. It was my first introduction to people shaming me physically this way. I mean, obviously they did it throughout my childhood, but
I was indignant about Rounders, and I was wrong.
I noticed.
I just watched Rounders,
Mike,
dude.
Mike, do you realize how often you're indignantly wrong? No?
It's occasional,
Yeah,
but memorable.
No, it's all
That's
the time.
why. No,
It's all the
it just sticks out because it's such a rarity.
We got super bogged down in here. He's like, no, Google
Yes,
him
no,
in
you're
Rounders.
kidding.
That's not- it's
Oh,
not
I
Gamma?
don't know my executive producer at all. No, I need to be right here. Yes, I need to be right about Rounders. Let's interrupt everything so I can be right about
He
Rounders.
was wrong about Al Golden.
We'll try a
too.
different search.
Don't
engine.
trust Dan at all that he's talking about his face being rounder. Don't trust him to use that as material. Need to be right about Rounders. Diana, I've been getting Flounder from Animal House. It was my introduction to learning. I looked like Flounder from Animal House. I believe the people. They said it so often. I must look like Flounder from Animal House. But I did not think I looked like Flounder from Animal House. My self-appraisal was pretty bad. It was not that bad. It was not, I look like a comically fat goofball in a movie that's made fun of by everybody.
But is there someone that you think you look like, or maybe someone has suggested it that you don't necessarily see, but you want to take it? Like for example, someone once said I look like Sloane from Entourage. I don't look like Sloane from Entourage, but guess what I'm going to tell people I look like? Sloane from Entourage, right? Like, you take that. You go, okay, I don't see it, but if you do, okay. Who's that for you?
I have to think about this for a moment. Amin is very eager to tell me who that is for me.
No, I'm just saying that's a dangerous
See,
game.
I don't look like her. Damn it.
But also,
Take that off the screen.
Diane, that's a dangerous game you're playing, because then you might end up, not you specifically, but someone who follows that advice might end up like the girl from Love is Blind who kept saying I look like Megan Fox. When people tell me I look like Megan Fox.
Dangerous game.
It's the most dangerous game.
Dangerous game. I get Sandra Bullock too. Dangerous game, right? Like, I'm better off going Snooki. I look like Snooki. Although she's very pretty too. That's a bad one.
She's short also. You're not that short.
Yeah,
People tell me I
I'm
look happy.
taller. People always think I'm short. I'm tall for a woman.
I'm not comfortable with all of this objectifying we're doing in every realm today. I would like to start a segment where Diana points to things in her house with her biceps showing while she wears Eagles green and
But
claims,
you don't like objectifying.
Which way is the beach?
claims
Weird
to be
back-to-back
thing is,
sentences.
I mean, I'm doing it right.
when she claims to be objective and comes on here supporting Eagles green. I want to go through some fast football topics with you, and not to make you compete against Mina Kimes, but I was legitimately stunned that when we hit Mina Kimes with this music for a long time, it rattles her, and she can be rattled. She'll walk in the wrong place on a TV set, and trying to process all the information in her head, which is tons about football, and give it to you clean and crisp because she's got 7 minutes of material, but we're asking her to give us 25 seconds. Are you ready for the challenge of doing this with a number of names? There's a lot of news and a lot of fame around the news.
Yes, and I'm aware. Mina and I have had this conversation, so I'm ready to take her down.
Okay, 20 to 30 seconds at a time on each topic. We've got a ton of them for you. Tom Brady.
Has all the power in Las Vegas. He's going to be the one to make a decision. He's got to have a tremendous influence on that organization. We can debate whether or not we think that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'd say it's a good thing because that guy knows how to win. So I think the culture in Vegas is about to change big time.
So you're reporting that he's going to probably, it's up to him, but he's probably going, if you had to guess, you think he's going to leave $300 million in broadcasting to go run the Raiders.
Oh, I don't know if he's going to lead broadcasting. I just know he's going to have a very, very heavy influence and say on what they do in Vegas. I don't necessarily think Tom Brady's going to be walking around the facility every day. I could see him probably keeping his home in Florida because his kids are still young. He wants to be around them. The whole father stuff is important to him. But I do know that there's a lot of Tom Brady-ness that is going to be part of the Las Vegas Raiders, and they want it that way, Mark Davis especially.
Yeah, the father stuff is important.
The whole father stuff.
Has in the history of broadcasting, there been a dude calling a game of someone he's actively trying to hire?
I don't think so, because we've never had an owner in the booth. Have we ever had an owner?
No.
Right?
No, like this is a very peculiar setup this weekend. For like it's pretty.
Does it
unprecedented.
bother you? Like it?
No.
I see that it doesn't bother me.
That setup doesn't bother me, but I am bothered by the lack of pre-production access that Tom Brady is allowed to have.
Who is bothered?
But I think he could. Look, there's been a lot of discourse online about his ability to do this or his inability to do this, and when a giant thing is not available to him in terms of pre-production, you kind of wonder, like, well, maybe we shouldn't do this because he's certainly not improving without that access.
Look, I think the access is obviously important, but I've been told by teams, actually I recently had this conversation, the best crews need the least amount of time in those pre-production meetings. The most prepared are usually the best. And they don't need to sit there and talk with Sean McDermott about what they're going to do on defense because they usually know because they've watched enough and studied it enough. So yeah, do I think it's hurting Tom Brady that he's not getting as much intel as he could possibly get? But he's Tom Brady. He should be able to know, see, and
Faster.
He's being asked to do things that you're being asked to do as a player, which is
Quicker.
identify things, which is why it just goes to show you how difficult television can be because he knows more than anybody.
Faster.
Yeah, it's so hard to communicate and articulate it in a very short window, which is what you're asking me to do, which is why I'm struggling right now because it is hard.
Diana, we've wasted 20 minutes of this interview. We haven't mentioned Deion Sanders or the Cowboys one time. Give me something.
I think it's all smoke. I think a conversation happened. Everyone's kind of wink-winking this thing. I don't think the Dallas Cowboys had a plan. I think they thought this would work out with Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy's like, nah, I'm good. This isn't what I want in terms of a contract. He walks. Jerry's left going, all right, I got to go find a head coach. This is the Dallas Cowboys, though. Every single person in America that coaches football wants an opportunity to coach for the Dallas Cowboys. So starts making some phone calls, which is what he's been doing the last few days, and he's reaching out to people. And I think Deion Sanders is someone he reached out to. I just don't think that Deion Sanders is going to be at the top of the list at the end of the day. Once the Dallas Cowboys start these interviews, Robert Saleh, the former Jets head coach, he's going to be meeting with Dallas over the weekend. He's the first official interview, as well as Leslie Frazier. He's going to get an opportunity as well.
Diana, correct me if I have any of this wrong, but the way that you phrased that, I was not familiar with the details, that McCarthy wasn't so much fired as offered a contract that was insulting or that he couldn't take. So if you're making that as a detail, are you telling me, oh, no, Jerry Jones is telling everybody, I'm going to be in control of the coach. I'm not going to pay a coach a lot of money to coach the Cowboys. I'm going to pay them in power. They're going to have the blessing of being able to be somebody who coaches the Cowboys.
Yes. So from what I understand, they never got to that like deep negotiation window. They just had enough conversation about what the future was going to be that they realized, yeah, this is not going to work. On top of the fact that it didn't hurt that Mike McCarthy had interest from the Chicago Bears and the New Orleans Saints sitting there. But I think for Jerry, I think Dallas fans are sweating this more than Jerry is, from what I understand. I think he feels very good that he's going to be able to get whichever coach it is that he wants. There's a little chatter about Jason Witten out there.
Faster.
We got to speed this up.
Wait, coach in waiting is what I
We got to speed this up.
But then it fell apart because McCarthy got fired, right?
Yeah, so Jerry's always loved Jason Witten. He's always wanted him to be part of the Dallas Cowboys at some point, at some extent. So I don't necessarily believe that he's going to be named the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, but I do think it's a name that we got to watch over the next few weeks to see if he would be part of a coaching staff.
Titans general manager
Rand Carthon was fired last week. Right now, they're looking for somebody new to step in here. They've interviewed over 12 different candidates. They called back about 8 for the second interview. Mike Bergonzi, he's the Chiefs' assistant general manager. He was the most recent one to come back for that second interview.
Marcus Freeman.
At the end of the day, Chad
Marcus
Brinker.
Freeman. Marcus Freeman.
Marcus Freeman, happy at Notre Dame. He's had opportunities in the past before. He seems like somebody that doesn't really want to make that jump yet. He's got that patience, unlike we've seen other college coaches. I think he wants to stay at
Russell
Notre Dame.
Wilson.
Russell Wilson wants to be back in Pittsburgh. He's working out, ready to go. I don't necessarily believe the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to go 100%. Yes, Russell Wilson's going to come back. I think they're going to take the next few weeks to make a decision on what they want to do.
Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin is staying in Pittsburgh. There's definitely teams that are all watching that, but for him, Pittsburgh's not going to move on from Mike Tomlin.
Aaron
Mike Tomlin wants to stay in Pittsburgh.
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, I think the new head coach and GM are going to make that decision. Woody is sticking to his word. He's going to let those coaches and GM make that decision, but I have a hard time believing he's going to be in a New York Jet uniform next season.
Teenagers running the Jets.
True. Rick and Jack are the sons of Woody Johnson. They have influence. They talk to their father. They want to run the Jets eventually at some point in their lives. Woody Johnson
Mike
wants them
Vrabel.
around.
Mike Vrabel.
The head coach of the New England Patriots, they just went from being a franchise that has zero direction to having a full identity. I expect them to compete with the Buffalo Bills next season. It's the best move Robert Kraft could have made after obviously making a bad decision in hiring Gerard Mayo, despite the fact that his intentions were good. Mayo wasn't ready for the job. Mike Vrabel's ready to take this thing and try to get another Super Bowl for the New England Patriots.
I'm sorry I did all that to you.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to hear the rest of that Jets answer too.
I want to hear the rest of that Jets answer, and I blew it.
Did I beat Mina?
No, well,
You spent
but it
the
was my
first-
fault. She got better help from me. I ruined you at the end. It's my fault,
Wait.
not yours.
I did not fall on my words once. The only reason why I stopped was just because I was talking and I couldn't hear your next question. I could have been even faster. I flew through that.
Yes.
At the end. But the first couple of questions we gave you in the speed round, you took your sweet
You
time.
didn't give me the music.
The music was playing
If
the
you
whole
gave me
time.
the music, I would have
All
sped
right,
up.
we'll do better next week. Listen, Diana, you've gotten great at all of this. I think you know this. You know, Diana, surely you know this.
I am trying to get the Netflix job. How am I going to get the Netflix job if I'm not winning in this round?
You got to say Netflix correctly when you're under pressure.
The Hammer.
Thank you, Diana. I appreciate it. I feel a lot of this was greatly unfair, but I have to admit to something. I did a moment during all of that introspection, self-reflection. I was just lashing out at Jessica because she's been mocking the way that I look, and I didn't realize I was doing it because she pressed on what has been an eternal shame my entire life, since I was a boy, since I was an insecure little fat boy in phys ed.
All I said, check the tape, Al Golden looks younger than you. That's all I said.
I've always thought Dan was handsome. I remember the first time I met him, I was like, he's a good-looking guy.
I never said he wasn't handsome. I never said you were fat. I never said anything.
You're falling for it. He's fishing for compliments, guys.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
Don't
You're right.
Just stand your ground.
And he's eating that fish.
I
Fried.
dated a guy that looked like him.
Who, Dan or the guy on the
You
screen?
dated John Favreau?
Flounder.
John Favreau.
Rudy.
I wish he was as charming as that guy, but he wasn't.
It's weird that there's two famous John Favreaus, right?
It is.
Is the other one famous? Is he
Yeah.
just he's famous for having the same name? That's not famous.
I mean,
Well, we know who he is. I think that counts.
I don't think he's famous for the name. There's plenty of John Favreaus out there.
No,
that
but I was
aren't
so
famous.
confused when I found out that the other John Favreau wasn't the John Favreau I was thinking of.
There's also two John Krasinskis.
What?
Yeah, one of them works for The Athletic. Covers Minnesota sports.
You got to change your name, pal.
No.
I think so.
No, like it's an office space situation. He should change his name.
Michael Bolton.
There you go. She gets it.
She's still with us. Okay,
While texting.
we thought we were. What news do you have on your phone right now, Diana? Your life is crazy.
You want to hear something
Yes.
funny? Someone just texted me about the Brady stuff with broadcasting and ownership. So I got to go work on this, but
See, other people care
Interesting.
too.
Diana, please tell, like, honestly, what your day is like. How much news will come over that phone, legitimately breakable news, in the next 30 minutes?
it's not breakable. It's usually just details of stuff that's happening. That's usually what I'm working on, is just getting little nuggets all day long.
Okay, thank you for the compliment I forced out of you. I'm sorry that there was so much objectification in that. I don't like being compared secretly to Flounder from Animal House, and I've been trying to keep that in disguise that it doesn't hurt for 20 years.
Speaking of Nuggets, Vice uniforms back tomorrow against the Nuggets, huh?
This guy.
It's been
gonna be
10
great.
minutes already.
It really did. The time really did fly, didn't it? Because he wasn't here.
Love you too.
Goalies, playoff beards, and Lord Stanley. No, Roy, I'm not talking about ice hockey. I'm talking about the NFL playoffs, the gridiron, win or go home, the ultimate postseason tournament. Here, let me show you. Big Ben's last game, Kyler's feeling shame, upsets in Green Bay and in Tennessee. There's just no way Prescott's going to the ground. He slid 1 second too late, and they don't have a timeout. Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Arrowhead, become personal. Time, 13 ticks. Holy shit, he's gonna do it all again. Do it all again. It's time for the playoffs. So grab a beer. I hope it's Miller Lite. It's time for the playoffs. The playoffs. It's time for the good stuff. Where every game comes down to guys who kick. It's time for the playoffs. The playoffs.
Playoffs sometimes mean having to say goodbye, even if you're not ready. Careers wind to an end, mantles taken, last chapter's written. But stars emerge to write new, exciting stories. For every door that closes, a new one opens. For every immunized quarterback that falls short, there's a young hotshot ready to take his place. There's nothing quite like
Playoffs. The playoffs.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I'm talking about the greatest of all time. He can turn it around in just one play. You can watch it all happen in the playoffs. The playoffs. It's the playoffs. Never is afraid. I see his face. The chosen. I'm talking about Evan McPherson. It's time for the playoffs. It's the playoffs. The playoffs. It's the playoffs.
Evan McPherson? The GOAT? He's a kicker. I mean, Tom Brady's bed's still warm. Tom Brady just left.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time. He's beautiful in every way. It's out of control.
He throws the ball most accurately and won 7 rings.
So good at quarterbacking, he's meant to outdecade teams.
A 6th-round draft pick with a chip on his shoulder and a dimple on his chin.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time.
records and reached unattainable goals.
I said he was done 10 years ago when he shoved it down my throat.
He played the Jets twice a year and always ripped out their souls.
And just like that, he left us all wanting more. He's a certified gold.
You're the greatest of all. You're the greatest of all. You're the greatest of all. The greatest of all time. You're the greatest
The greatest of all time.
Huzzah! After an incredible season, the big game is finally here.
Ugh, have fun. I don't even care who's in the big game, unless it's my Steelers.
Come on, Jess. A game they call Super and a town they call Tinsel await. Which oversized behemoths will control the trenches? Which variety of barley wheat lager will woo the consumer? Which 90s rapper will solicit the most yearning nostalgia? There's oh so much to decide.
A game so big, one can only dream of the brightest light shining on your team. But if my team's not there, why even go? With no one to cheer on, I don't get the show. Oh, tell me, you got the reasons. You got the reasons. Take me there. Take me there. Just take me there.
The Super Bowl, 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 the Super Bowl.
I hope you're starting to see the light. Regardless of who's in it, it's a spectacle.
I think I'm starting to come around. Like, for instance,
Everybody wagering on a team. Chris Collinsworth sliding into your screen. I was too caught up in being a fan instead of just shotgunning beers and betting the Rams. Oh, tell me, you got more reasons. You got more reasons. Take me there. Take me there. Just take me there.
The Super Bowl, 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 the Super Bowl.
anything you want, everything you need, you can get it all. Pat McAfee, writings on the wall. What's it gonna be? You'll see Marshall Falk and Mariucci. Anything you want, everything you need, you can get it all from Dominique. Writings on the wall. What's it gonna be? You can get it all. Kyle Brandt's Hemmings.
Going out west for the Super Bowl.
Going out west for the Super Bowl.
My team's not there, but I'm gonna show.
My team's also not there, but I'm gonna show.
Everybody knows it's bound to be.
Everybody knows it's bound to be
The greatest night for you and me. Come on now. Take me there. Take me there. Just take me there.
The Super Bowl, 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 the Super Bowl,
spent all night out in Venice. Then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer.
What's up, everybody? Your boy is back from paternity leave, and I have a very important announcement. UFC 311 MMA Hangout is back at Casa Tiki, live and in person at the #1 UFC bar on the planet, Casa Tiki. We'll be watching UFC 311. That's Islam Makhachev versus Arman Tsarukyan. #2, we've got the bantamweight title also in line between Merab Dvalishvili, and we've got Umar Nurmagomedov undefeated. Plus, we got a banger to open all that stuff up. Yuri Prochazka versus Jamal Hill, 10 p.m. Saturday night at Casa Tiki Live if you want to pull up on the boys, or YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, wherever you watch the MMA Hangout. Support us. We love you. 2025, big year. We're back. Let's go.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Yesterday, I was lamenting why it is that Chris Sims unbuttoned, that Chris Sims can't be on NBC exactly the same person he is on God Bless Football, or roaming around Earth in a way that makes me feel like Chris Sims should be allowed to smoke a cigarette on television if he indeed smokes, because he's hiding his real self from us and only shows it to us on Chris Sims Unbuttoned. Adnan Virk is a similar creature. I really like Adnan Virk. I've liked him for a long time. But the real Adnan Virk is a hell of a lot more interesting than the guy who hosts Amazon Prime Monday Night Hockey. But I don't get the real Adnan Virk on television. I get great at television Adnan Virk. I'm an Amazon Prime Monday Night Hockey host. I know everything about hockey. I'm charming. I'll do television. But my secret side? Oh, you'd love that. My dark underbelly? God, the comedic timings I have. If I could free that man on television, I'd be a free man artistically and not be the slave to the sports gods of broadcasting. Do I have anything wrong here, Adnan Virk? Because this is why I'm bummed. I'll tell you why I'm bummed, okay? It's not just that I have not been able to unleash the real you on the American public in a way that would be appalling and delightful. It's that I've tried to combine you with David Sampson to talk movies, and kids don't want to hear about you guys talking about Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield in 1986. And so I haven't been able to make you Siskel and Ebert. But I just heard you being onboarded by Chris Cody, and I just heard David Sampson is pissed, and it's all I heard. And I don't know what he's pissed about. I don't know what's happening with you and David Sampson, but I've been trying to combine you for a while, at least in part because I think that Oscars party that you guys did one night was, that is one of the best things Meadowlark has done. I had so much fun around what you guys made of content. I want to be something that covers the Golden Globes.
I think we're out
correctly.
of time with Adnan. Thank you for stopping by.
No, Adnan, because
He hasn't spoken in 3 minutes.
All right, so all of that said,
I really want to show the people your personality, so I'm going to talk for 5 straight minutes.
That's like Bill Maher. That's how he does it on Club Random. The narcissism gets so good sometimes that you end up talking over your guests. Adnan, what's happening with our Oscar party, and why is Sampson pissed?
So, Dan, great to see you as always. By the way, I look forward to the South Beach sessions with Andy Garcia. I hope he did not bite your ear. There's a dated reference to Joey Zaza and Godfather 3. With regards to David Sampson, listen, I'm going to be as candid as possible. And I'm doing this because we're friends. We're genuine friends. And I love you, and I love Amin and Cody and Mike, the entire show. Here's the issue with Sampson. It's come to light that he basically is the reason Cinephile no longer exists. So I respect David Sampson. Like, I really do. Like, I think he's done a lot of great things in his career, but I can't respect him for what he did to my podcast. I did 336 episodes of my podcast. It came out of my heart. It was a deep love and passion that I have for cinema. And because he's small and diminutive, and he couldn't take that, He went behind my back to John Skipper and to Bimmel, and he got the podcast canceled. I don't know how he did it, but it was Machiavellian and it was Samsonian. And I'm probably giving him too much credit by giving him his own adjective. Because again, I give him credit. He got it done. He wanted me out and he got me out. So congratulations, David. You did it. You got my podcast canceled and nothing personal survives. But I know what you did to me. And let's just say chickens come home to roost. I'll leave it at that.
Well, wait a minute. That is the greatest threat. Shannon Sharp does it his way to Kirk Herbstreit, and Adnan Virk does it his way, firing about like that is company on company crime right there. I've not heard any of that.
Hold on, Dan, and I'm gonna say this because Adnan is a cinephile. I know he's quoting Malcolm X.
Yeah,
Spike Lee movie, Malcolm X, when he talks about the JFK assassination.
That's fine.
Yes.
He sounds ridiculous saying it. It's you don't see the difference between Malcolm X saying it and Adnan Virk saying it to David Sampson.
Denzel Washington as Malcolm X.
Exactly. To Amin's point, I'm not really quoting Malcolm X. I'm quoting Denzel doing Malcolm X. But go ahead.
Right. No, it's fine. I want to do a Golden Globes recap with you. I want to talk to you about Mad Dog and his desperate begging to meet Timothée Chalamet, ending up in him meeting Timothée Chalamet in a way that all the corporate entities work together to make Chris Russo Stugotz. Like, you get to the top and start asking for things, and they'll start happening for you because you're shameless.
So I texted Mad Dog, who's a colleague, of course, at MLB Network, prior to the film being out, because at the winter meetings in Dallas.
Look at me,
I'm not sure that was necessary or appropriate, but I did text Mad Dog. And I said, hey, listen, I don't want to burst your bubble. I've seen a complete unknown. And I understand you're raving about it like this is the greatest films in Citizen Kane, but it's not. And he writes back, so what do you mean? I said, Timothée Chalamet is fantastic. He's a superb young actor. He can make films for art house audiences and also for big box office. So he can do Dune 2, but he can also do Call Me By Your Name. And he's excellent as Bob Dylan, particularly the fact he sings his own music, which James Mangold, the director, with Walk the Line, also had Joaquin Phoenix sing as Johnny Cash and Reese Witherspoon as June Carter Cash. Reese Witherspoon won an Oscar. So I give him credit. But the film itself, I go, Matt, I got to be honest with you, man, it's a fairly conventional musical biopic. And I said, going into that film, I didn't know a whole lot about Bob Dylan, aside from the fact he's enigmatic, he's moody, and kind of a prick. And I came into the movie and I said, yep, still all the things that I thought. I understand what really the purpose of the film is. And he's very angry. He hasn't seen the film, and I can tell, like, Mad Dog, you keep talking. This is like December 4th. You haven't seen the movie. You don't get the screeners like I do. You're not a member of the Critics' Choice Association. You're just loving this movie.
That's you've cheapened it by not. That's where it's deserved. That's where.
That's exactly where.
It's like, what are your credentials? Go ahead. No, please tell me again your credentials. Tell them. Go ahead. Say them
As
again.
a member of the Critics' Choice Association, I've seen 85 films throughout the year, but prior to their release, I get to see these films. Matter of fact, I get The Brutalist DVD sent to me, which is one of my favorite films of the year.
It's hard to watch that.
I get the screenplay to Challengers, which, as you guys know, because I'm a tennis guy, I quite enjoy the film, seeing tennis on the big screen. I mean, I get like vinyl. Like Mike Ryan would love this. I got Conclave, the album. Like, it's just these things get sent to me because of the position which I hold. Okay, so Mad Dog, but again, I give him credit, much like David Sampson. Mad Dog figured it out. He's like, I will just bloviate about this film as if it is the greatest musical biopic ever. And I will worship at the altar of Timothée Chalamet, who is having a moment and is now apparently dating Kylie Jenner, who we saw at the Golden Globes. So again, hats off. Mad Dog at the London premiere, it was surreal to see him there. He's dapping up Chalamet and hugging him and stuff. Like, it's awesome. It's good for him. But I'll be honest, the movie's not that great, and Chalamet's not going to win the Oscar, no matter what Mad Dog says.
Adnan, I have a question for you, because you said it's not that great. What is an example of a great biopic, particularly of a musician? Because I feel like you're right. They're all kind of blah. I remember when Rami Malek won for the
Bohemian Rhapsody, a joke.
And I was like, this movie is basically so a bunch of people who grew up listening to Queen could relive those songs. It was so like distorted. It was like someone be like, the situation will be like, hey, we will rock you. Like, hey, that's a song. And then that's not how it happened. None of that happened like that. But it just allowed people the nostalgia of like, I remember that song when I was in high school or middle school or whatever, and they sang it. So what, because you've watched so many of these, what is an example of, oh, this is actually really good?
Yeah, great question. So that movie particularly, you're right. The problem was it was so sanitized. People that know Queen go, this is not the Freddie Mercury. Like, there's none of the bisexuality. There's none of the sex and the drugs. It's just the rock and roll. So, like, why are we doing this? So at least I give Elton John credit with Rocket Man. That film with Taron Egerton, that was a warts and all biopic. I didn't think entirely successful, but at least it was more authentic to the story. I'll give you two. I think Ray's a really good biopic. Taylor Hackford's a good director. I thought Jamie Foxx was immersive in the performance, and I thought I learned about Ray. I learned and I got to see, again, the warts and all depiction, the womanizing, the bad behavior, in addition to the musical genius. And I also think Mangold, who directed A Complete Unknown, did a much better job with Walk the Line. Like, I thought that was a genuinely stirring musical biopic. Johnny Cash is a fascinating character. It was one set of him. He walked with God but partied with Satan. And I thought he was able to nail that dichotomy in the movie, that Cash is a guy who was a believer but also had a serious drug problem, and that Reese Witherspoon playing June Carter Cash really was saintly in terms of bringing about his rehabilitation. I think sometimes what happens, I mean, you have these, as they call it, cradle to the grave biopics, meaning you have to show when the person's born and then go right till their death. Doesn't always happen. And with A Complete Unknown, they're not doing that. They're showing 4 years of Dylan's life when he's making these critical hits and then apparently sells up by going electric. It's a different approach, but I just didn't think it was that successful.
Given the degree of difficulty, I ask this question sincerely. In the history of made movies like this that a main actor would take and try to, Hollywood up, is there a biopic creature less likely to have any interest in this being done on him than Bob Dylan in the history of like cinema and art and music and everything else? Like, wouldn't Bob Dylan be the most likely reputationally to absolutely hate in the history of human being celebrity that this movie is being made about him?
The only one I could think of, Dan, if we're just going to like any discipline of creative arts, might be J.D. Salinger and Catcher in the Rye. Famously, a guy who was anonymous,
reclusive. A famed recluse. This is purpose. Look, this misremembers history so much to have this actor try this role for an artist who would think this the most despicable thing in the history of capitalism and commerce. What would Bob Dylan say honestly he really feels about the doing of all this?
I've seen his you can parse whether or not he was being honest, but I've seen him praise the performance of,
correct.
of
Mike's
Chalamet.
right. I didn't say anything with the movie, but he did say Chalamet did a hell of a job. So I don't know if he's just being genuine and kind to Timothée, but yeah, I can't imagine him sitting through the film enjoying it. No Direction Home, which is a brilliant Scorsese documentary about Bob Dylan. Again, you get the sense that he's so reluctant and so recalcitrant to have any sort of examination of his life. He doesn't want to talk about it. He doesn't care about it. And you're right. He's on the short list of people who I just think have zero interest in this adulation. Spoiler alert, the film ends with the fact mentioned that Dylan got, a series of awards and never bothered to show up for the ceremony. Like he's gotten like the Congressional Medal of Honor. He's like, yeah, I'm good. He has zero interest in these types of topics. And I guess that makes him true to his art. But again, I just don't understand why he needs to be so gruff about it.
Dylan praising Chalamet's performance. This is Dwayne Wade liking the statue, right? Right, that's what that is.
I just don't understand. I don't understand how any of it is allowed to exist by America. Like Bob Dylan's supposed to represent art and would find all of this offensive. Just all of it. I would think, or am I just attaching what people...
He's really good at having people assume that about him.
Yes.
Because they create a mythology or because it's so?
Well, because he's quiet, people build a mythology around him.
Like Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, exactly.
It's exactly like Kawhi Leonard.
Apple time.
Yep.
He's the host of Amazon Prime Monday Night Hockey, and I feel a bit of shame that I'm not out here talking more about Spencer Knight being a god and the Panthers and the Bruins playing amazing hockey. The sport is moving very fast for the regular season. It needs to slow down. All of it needs to slow down. I need to have a life. I cannot care about why it is that Winnipeg's power play is so good or Connor McDavid is slightly less than what I thought he was.
Dan, don't worry. We'll slow down for 2 weeks, in which USA and Canada finally play with NHL players for like the first time in a decade during the Four Nations Challenge.
I love the fact Mike Ryan is going to be at the Four Nations. That is fantastic. Mike Ryan, special correspondent. Mike knows I'm not working it for Amazon. I might just go to Montreal. You know what? I think it's going to be an incredible tournament to see the best on best with the. And by the way, for all my American friends out here, USA is favored. They have the better team, certainly in goal. Connor Hellebuck not only is going to win his third Vezina, he might win the Hart Trophy this year. Like, he's been incredible. He's got more shutouts than losses. And the fact that he's standing tall in the U.S. net, I think it's going to be a hell of a tournament. Canada still has a ton of offensive firepower. Speaking of the Florida Panthers specifically, Dan, one of my favorite moments this year on Amazon Prime was getting to interview Paul Maurice, who says he's the anti-Bob Dylan. He is as good a quote as you will meet. He's self-deprecating. He's funny. He's charming. One of my favorite people in sports. Mo's the best.
Adnan, before you get out of here, Golden Globes, do you want to give me as much information as you can? Let's speed the music up on him as well. You know what? We did this to Diana Rossini.
He doesn't talk fast enough.
This is the thing. Here's the thing. I don't know what exactly are the inner workings of him and Samson. I will have to find out the details on.
How much more apparent can I make this clear to you, Dan? He gets cinephile canceled. Now he's not showing up today because he's a baby.
Well, what happened? Showing up? What did he not show up for?
You listen. You were on the text chain. You asked him to come on.
No, but I
today.
haven't seen my phone because I've been busy talking at you.
Okay, well, the text literally says, "I'm not coming on the show today." You can read it right now.
That's a trademark bedside manner that we love so much about David.
Let me get.
And by the way, I'd still love to do the Oscar show with or without Samson. We have plenty of capable people here. Mike Ryan's great, Amin El Hassan, etc. I don't know why we need David Sampson's authority to do an Oscar show. For the record,
Okay, because he's gotten near the money. Like, which part of this are you guys not understanding?
Keyword there is money.
Oh no! What have
he
we
is
done?
giving the money. I'll give him that.
What
He's
have
got
we
the
done?
money.
What do you mean? What have we done? I needed his help with the money. We're arguing over T-shirts. I asked you people to handle all of this for me.
We put a wolf in charge of the hen house.
Play the music.
Bob Dylan would be disgusted by this conversation.
Adnan Virk, Golden Globes recap. As much information as you can give us, as fast as you could give it, because the real Adnan Virk cares about this. Shh, spoiler alert, more than hockey.
Don't ever say that.
And he
How
loves
dare
it.
you.
And more than tennis. And he loves those things. No, you love the arts. You love getting those little gifts from Scorsese.
Actually, guys, I have to bring the fun down, but I do want Adnan to weigh in on this, and it actually ties two of his passions together, cinema and
baseball.
Just came across the wire. Bob Uecker has passed away.
Oh no!
Oh man,
Wow. Yeah.
That's devastating news, Mike. He's like an all-time legend, man. You know, it's funny, for a generation of people, they'll know him just because of Major League. And he's brilliant in the movie, and he ad-libbed everything in that film. Bob Costas has told me that, who's, of course, a friend of the show and a dear friend of Bob's. But Bob Uecker, if you didn't know Major League, you didn't know Mr. Belvedere, which he was on the show as well. If you just listened to him as a baseball guy, he was absolutely brilliant. Like, he actually gets way too much credit for how funny he is and how entertaining a personality he is, and not enough credit for what a great baseball announcer he was. And he was still calling Milwaukee Brewers games. And, you know, even after this past season, when Craig Counsell went to the Cubs, they thought Milwaukee would go down a step. No, they're still in the playoffs. And Bob Uecker was calling playoff games and still bringing it, and was such a joy to listen to. Oh, man, that's a tough blow for baseball fans, man. Uecker I mean, you can have Tim Kirkton on. Tim can tell you stories for years. He said the greatest master of ceremonies ever was Bob Uecker. He's just so funny and so charming, and that's a big loss for the sport of baseball.
Dan, now you go.
Meantime, Demi Moore wins her first Golden Globe. That's her first major award in 45 years of being an actress. And again, I'm not the one to say that she should have been lauded with laurels for A Few Good Men. She was Oscar nominated for Ghost. G.I. Jane, of course, is a big box office hit. Striptease less successful. But give Mike Ryan credit. He was the first one that texted me and Samson, goes, you guys got to watch The Substance. I was like, horror movie, gonzo filmmaking, let's give it a shot. And both of us, all three of us, matter of fact, enjoyed it a lot more than we probably should have. And it's not a film that would normally get awards type consideration because it's too gruesome, too gory, but it's audacious, it's challenging, it's got heavy themes to hit on when it comes to women's issues, and Demi Moore does give a go-for-broke performance. I see the Golden Globes recognizing her, although I'd love to see Mikey Madison still win the Oscar for Honora, which is one of my favorite films of the year, and also credit to The Brutalist. Again, Adrian Brody might go down in history as the worst two-time Best Actor winner ever. Think about this. He won Best Actor for The Pianist at the age of 29. He was the youngest ever Best Actor winner. He's now the favorite to win for The Brutalist. Again, I will show the DVD here again, and I love the film. Brady Corbet might win Best Director. He's the favorite. Guy Pearce is sensational. He's going to get nominated for Best Supporting Actor. But Adrian Brody, if I said to you guys, give me 5 iconic Adrian Brody performances, you're not going to be able to do so. And you could throw out Pat Riley and, you know, playing a Lakers coach in Showtime.
Predators.
Honestly, he's
He was great in that.
King Kong. This is what we're doing with Adrian Brody, and he's going to win 2 Oscars. It's crazy to think about. Robert De Niro has 1 Best Actor Oscar ever for Raging Bull. Adrian Brody's about to win his
De
second.
Niro
He wins
could
the
never
Globe
be
for
in
the
Predators. It shifted the paradigm. Instead of the Predator coming to Earth, he took a
We
bunch of
went there.
Earthlings to his planet.
Uh-huh. Also, he was in Fool's Paradise. He did a good job in that.
Give
Adrian
me
Brody on his way to an Oscar.
Give me the joy that you get in your life, any kind, of being able to wave at us that I get this DVD because of my movie credentials.
No, that's not what it is. I'm just trying to establish credentials, Dan, because people say, who is this loudmouth? Who do you think you are that you get to opine about films? You're just some sportscaster from MLB Network. You're a hack, damn it. And I said, no, I'm not a hack. I'm a guy who gets sent the screenplay to challengers.
Dan,
There's
you're,
my-
you're often worried about the show aging out. How many of our listeners know what a DVD is?
I can't believe that he's just waving it around. And what is give me
Dan, you flush it, I flaunt it. That's the difference.
Well, no, I'm just asking you that what I want to know is if I give Adnan Virk the moment that he can show America what his credentials are, and he could hold up in front of America, let me show you, America, how credentialed I am. Somebody sent me this, and it's Robert De Niro's sock or whatever it is. Like, would you sniff daily as part of your morning mantra? What would the thing be? What would the one thing be?
I have an unbelievable picture of Martin Scorsese in a director's chair on the set of The Irishman. And it's a gorgeous shot. I'm a big fan of that photographic look. You know, imagine Le Batard in repose, staring out at South Beach, but I don't get to see your face. I get to see you from behind. It's a gorgeous shot, black and white, Scorsese in the director's chair. Simply says director on the set of The Irishman. It's immaculate.
I thought it was going to be a laser disc of Casino.
Actually, add that.
I do have some great Criterion DVDs. It means right about that.
Adnan, good seeing you. He's the host of Amazon Prime Monday Night Hockey. If you want to do fast 30 seconds of baseball, we can do it through a lot of speed. He can do it on. You saw what just happened. I thought I'm a bit offended that we just eulogized Bob Uecker with that music playing right before you started.
Yeah, but we faded it down. Chris was on it, and Adnan. I mean, man, was he ready for that?
A pro.
What a great obit, Dan. We're still waiting for your words on it. I do have one more movie question because Nosferatu is a huge box office hit, but it's a little polarizing, and the polarization basically comes down to one thing. Count Orlok has a mustache, and a lot of people, they kept it secret, and the reveal was kind of stunning. And I basically boiled it down to the people that didn't like Nosferatu didn't like the mustache. Was it, in retrospect, a mistake to put a mustache, a historically accurate mustache, on Count Orlok?
Well, there's no question the movie's been polarizing. You're right, Mike. It's made a ton of money, which is a great sign for Robert Eggers, who you and I both appreciate as an independent director. He's a visionary. His films haven't made a ton of money, whether it's The Witch, or The Lighthouse, or The Northman, but this one's got people talking. And a lot of friends said to me, how come Bill Skarsgård's not getting Oscar consideration? I said, well, maybe the fact that, he's the monster. And he goes, hang on a second. The awards, they love when they transform themselves. Yes? Demi Moore transforms herself. Timothée Chalamet transforms himself into Bob Dylan. So why does this guy not get credit for transforming himself into a monster, into Nosferatu? I said, all right, it's a fair point. I love the film, especially the cinematography. I'm a little mystified. It's been virtually ignored by all the major branches in terms of the acting categories. Lily Rose Depp, I thought, was terrific. Especially, as I said, the look of the film is amazing. Is the mustache the issue? Perhaps. But Eggers brings it. There's no question about it.
Mike, I will take you up on your challenge as Adnan Virk leaves us, but I will ask Adnan Virk to tell me if I have anything wrong here, because Tim Kirkchin and Adnan Virk are very good gatekeepers for baseball's history, and the things about it that are special. And yes, when someone dies at 90 now, long life, we will not remember them correctly. But as it relates to Bob Uecker, as a player, wherever the trilogy resides, he was fine as a player, a known player. But the career that he had 50 years after that was being a clown prince, face and voice for baseball that was almost eternally lovable everywhere it arrived in public. And also, Milwaukee can tell you a lovely dark undercurrent of a baseball man who lived with all of the insane bitternesses that come with traveling on the road for 50 years, following a ball team around, and was great as a human being in a way that ties him regionally to something, but nationally, through the movies as well, to being a voice, face, and time for baseball that was allowed to age lovingly on radio, of all places, on radio, right? Like, it's a specific thing in a specific market with a specific relationship with the ears of a regional audience. Milwaukee is crushed today that this man, a historic clown prince of representation to America through the movies and through baseball, a historic figure in the region that transcended sports.
Yeah, there's always something special about baseball on the radio, Dan. And again, it's part of a bygone era for some, but Tom Hammond's being inducted in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and he's been the voice of the Cleveland Indians, now Guardians, for decades. And like, you'll go back and listen to his calls, the Rajai Davis home run 2016, or any number of moments in the 90s Indians, and you're like, yeah, that really speaks to that locale and that generation. And similarly, as you said, for Milwaukee, this is a small market team, right? In terms of attendance and payroll, they're in the 20s of a 30-team baseball league, and yet Uke is the voice of summer for so many Wisconsinites. We know how tough the weather can be in Milwaukee, but they get up to the lake in the summer, and they're listening to Bob Uecker call Brewers baseball. And if they had 1982, they've had some good runs, obviously made the playoffs, been successful, but Bob Uecker's voice, it will be inextricably linked to baseball for those people there. And again, on a national level, people at least heard him enough on NBC broadcasts. They know Major League, just a bit outside, and all the one-liners. It's at the age of 90, it was truly a life well lived. And I'm telling you, this is not just because when people die, people say these things. A fundamentally humane and decent human being.
I've got a photo here of you guys blocking David Sampson out of the Zoom, not allowing him in the personal meeting room on my text here. What is happening here? I'm just looking at the Adnan, what are you doing, David Sampson? Why am I being sent? What is happening? Oh, you guys invited him and he says, I'm not coming on today. He just threw a temper.
That's what I told you. Correct.
Oh,
I said, listen, we're going to go on and talk movies, even though, I get stuff sent to me and I'm an actual critic and you're not. We'll still come on and do our bit. And he said, I'm not coming on today. I'm like, really? You're just going to take your ball and go home? I'm like, okay, that's fine. Nothing perfect. Hashtag wait to see.
All right. Well, we'll put you on next week. Thank you, Adnan. Appreciate the time.
Thanks, guys. Love you guys.